And then I understand you also are practicing kind of an interesting area as well that's kind of new in the whole legal gambit. And I'd love you to talk a little bit more about that.
Yeah, absolutely. So it was really funny because I have it on a lot of my advertisements and people are always asking about it. So I'm actually practicing revenge porn cases.
Mhm.
I have one or two in the office now. And it's basically, there was a new law signed pretty recently that grants individuals who had their photos sent out without their consent, it gives them a civil right of action. And it's
Right.
a pretty new area. I've done a lot of research on it. There's really no precedent set. There's really not much precedent set at this point.
Mhm.
And also one of the cases I have, my client just informed me recently that the police department that actually arrested the individual, this person was actually arrested for what he did.
Yeah.
Yeah, and she said that the police officer told her this is one of the first times that we're ever arresting somebody for
Really?
this type of, for this solicitation that occurred.
Right.
So, we're tackling it from the civil aspect, the criminal aspect is being handled as well. And it's really cool to kind of be like one of the pioneers for this area of law. So I'm excited for it.
Absolutely. Well, let's. I mean, I think maybe viewers are going to be really interested in this too because it is such a new area, and there's even documentaries about kind of like what led up to these laws passing criminally and now civilly. So, like, kind of explain like the situation, like. Someone sends a picture that's a nude or something, and then what happens? I mean, like, what ends up happening that you would get involved?
Yeah, exactly. So, a lot of the times we're seeing it where it's an individual who is sending pictures to a significant other at a certain time.
Mhm.
And then that significant other is distributing those pictures afterwards to all different places or all
Without
different.
consent by the person who sent it, right?
Exactly,
Okay.
correct. Also, we have a lot of phone calls where there are individuals who they're like, my video that I sent to my ex-boyfriend is on Pornhub right now, or some
Oh,
other type of pornographic website, right? So they're like, I never gave my consent for that. So it's really in the distribution, it's in the solicitation that
right.
that's where the crime, that's where the tort occurs, right?
Yep.
So if without the consent, you need the consent of the individual. But also, I mean, it's good, right? Because you send something to somebody in confidence, and then
Right.
all of a sudden, they're sending it out to a third person, a fourth person, a fifth person, and then it, God forbid, or something, it goes viral.
Mhm.
So I think it's a really good law that's come about, and it's really gonna it's gonna take some time, right? But we have to see like what's gonna happen in the courts with it. Hopefully, the courts are gonna take it as seriously as we are.
I hope so too. I think it's also an extension of like the public disclosure of private facts, but in a more specific area. Because I mean, it's even more severe in my opinion if you're talking about like someone's like nude body and stuff, or whatever, whether it's nude or not, like sending that out to someone intimately, and then it's like, oh, and now here I am, and all of these strangers can now see it, or even
Yeah.
friends or people just who shouldn't see it. It's such a violating kind of well, crime and then tort. Like when you're dealing with your clients, like are they just distraught when they come to you, I'm sure, or like, I mean, how does that go for you?
Yeah, so from what I'm seeing, it's a lot of, at first, it's a lot of surprise. It's a lot of like, oh my God, I found out, or somebody sent me, myself on some other website, or on, they texted me. And that's what we're seeing a lot. There's a lot of people, and like, congrats to the public for like helping each other out, which is great. But
Right.
like, for instance, yeah, so like a lot of our clients, they'll have, this girl on Instagram sent me this video of me, and saying like, hey, like this is you. Whether or not whether how they found out that information is like a whole nother, we investigate all that kind of stuff. But that's what I'm seeing it a lot. So I think it's like good in that respect, is that like, individuals are sticking up for each other in that
Yeah.
way.
Yeah.
Um, and then also it's a lot of sadness, right? Like it's a lot of you send something to somebody in confidence, right?
Mhm.
Or especially if you're with somebody for, say, you're dating somebody for 2 years, and then you send them, obviously, listen, we all send a lot of videos and pictures and all that kind of stuff, like whatever, right? If you're with somebody for 2, 3 years, listen, it happens. And
Right.
then, you break up, and then, there's no expectation, or that person shouldn't be sending then your photos and videos that you sent to all these other people, right?
Right.
Or
Right.
there's some individuals that use it to elicit other people to come to them. Like
Right.
seen that happening a lot. So it's a pretty spicy area. But it's a definitely, it's an up and coming area. And as I said, I'm like excited to, you know, be pioneering this with Shulman and Hill. And we're really looking to dig our claws into it and dig our feet into it and see what's going to happen.